Hey everyone, how's it going? Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon. Hope everyone's had a great day and a nice weekend. So we're going to run over, just very quickly, the bias for today's session, which we've seen on Treasuries. Really good trade actually. So we took one tick on the 30-year, and we took one on the tens, and then we managed to essentially catch this short down for 11 ticks, which was really good. And we're going to discuss the premise of essentially what we were seeing. Um, so as everyone knows, Biden has dropped out of the race, pretty much putting Trump in the lead. Not that it wasn't in the lead anyway, but far more certain. And just in general, if Trump gets in, it essentially means higher inflation, which increases yields and essentially puts pressure on the bond and note market or futures market. So we've seen this sell off towards the end of last week. We then saw a little bit of profit taking and in consolidation. And what we were anticipating is if we could break these lows, we then essentially should move down through this area pretty quickly because of the singles left in there from a few weeks ago. So if we then jump in, I think at the exact time this was the profile up here, and we hadn't yet challenged the overnight low. So I was short from, I think it was roughly 27s, and then we basically took it down to 22s where it was a 1k lot. It then faffed around a little bit and we went some more, and now we're just pulling back, and this is pretty much all she wrote for the session. We're probably going to now defend 22 and a halves and sort of end down at maybe 20s. I doubt we'll go back up and re-challenge the overnight low, but that was the premise. So really good trade to essentially start the week from here. So we can see we took 12 tickaroos. Hope everyone is doing well. Declan, how's it going, dude? Terence, Alex, how's it going? What has all been happening? Did anyone take any trades today? Um, so yeah, so that was pretty much the plan. I'm just going to count this out to see exactly what the entry was. But it was 11 ticks and it was 22. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah, so we got in at 27s. And then we were out to get, there was a 1k lot that was essentially going down to get filled. And it was quite nice. It was maybe 20 or so minutes around the trade. It was a nice one. And also as well, the Ultra and the 30-year had already moved as well, so that gave the sort of impetus for the trade as well. And with the plan of that, when we went down to the overnight low, I was already up 3 or 4 ticks, and I was thinking to myself, right, I now get a free look at this cracking, and if it does crack, then we've got the chance of another 6 or 7 ticks if price goes down. And it did, which is nice. Doesn't always happen. Sometimes it will just reload the bid, and then we'll tick back up, and we take our 3 ticks. But this time, the big dudes were in our favour, and they basically just continued to hit aggressively through the level. And as you can see, this is the singles that was left from a couple of weeks ago here. It was much thinner than what it is now. There was a couple hundred lots each. So the market likes to fill out these areas, but the first time it will hit through them, you essentially see the market go down pretty quickly. So nice trade, and then we'll quickly run over what the profile looks like, and let's combine last week's for everyone to do this anyway. And that's it. And some decent ranges actually from Monday in indices as well. I see this is now not saved, and just I'll need to fix that later. I'm going to save this before I forget to do anything. But yeah, so that was the premise for that trade. So let me save all and then close this, and we'll jump onto the ladders. So let's see if we're going to continually crack the highs here. You can see delta is a really one-sided day, plus 20k delta so far today, and I'm not liking this continual grind at the highs. The fade is now extremely risky. This was your fade up here, where we get a nice sweep back, pull back or pull in, then we go up, hit it, and then right back down. So that was the trade. The longer it consolidates at the highs like this, you know, the more you're under pressure. We could always, of course, just pull right back and go back down here, but the fact the session regular trading hours is the POC is moved here is not fantastic. Discuss that, Declan, no problem. Quite good ranges today, but quite a, I suppose, a decent day to be fading. Look at the direction actually in pre-market. Wow, it was extremely one-sided, and then of course when pre-market is extremely net long, we then get the correction. Happens a lot. Nice, we're still in the initial balance high and initial balance low, so I suppose you could be taking this fade, but to be honest, this was the opportunity here. We'll see if any of our dudes that love the mean reversion, if they had taken this long, this short, and also as well give you quite decent ranges and decent price action. So pretty good for Monday, to be honest. Piggy boy, one and done. All afternoon session looked better. So what did you trade today, Pig? Because you don't trade individual. Sorry, you don't trade like ES or NQ or anything. You trade individual stocks, right? So what was on the scanner for you today? NQ saved you for the day. Started the day way too early before EU session and kind of messed up half of this, but up half of this day. Alex, yeah, so to be honest, pre-market is always pretty challenging. I would say if your time zone supports it, just only trade regular trading hours, to be honest with you. You get the best of everything. It's actually pretty warm here today, which is surprising. CLSK shorts. I've got no idea what that is, Pig. I know that's the ticker, but what is that? Ah, yeah, it's hard if you're socializing, mate, and trying to watch trades and stuff. It's not exactly ideal. So we could really do anything here. I mean, this would, in general, be a good short if we hadn't been consolidating so much at the highs with the point of control now moving up here. You know, if we do sort of sweep here, you know, everyone is buying up here, you know, they're going to be proven wrong on the session here. And then we might get, let's get the pen up, the trusty pen. So we need to mark the initial level of that, if this could load up. There we go. What colour will we go for today? Let's go for pink. Okay, so if you were buying here, right, and you're obviously looking for let me just double check why. Yeah, okay. So if you were buying and you're thinking this is going to go to the moon, right? I mean, there is some premise for this happening. I would like to see the Russell probably probe up as well to support this theory. But NQ is really trying, so we can see NQ is working its way up. For your invalidating, if they can absorb this up here, and then if we do get down to this level, which we've got marked with a rectangle, there's going to be some stops that are going to trigger, and they on the long side, so they're going to need to cover and they become shorts, which could then get us a little bit of a cascade back down to the VWAP. But I kind of feel like they would maybe already have done that already, to be honest. So the play, I suppose, is I mean, it's going to be pretty unlikely that we just, barcode here, right? There's definitely going to be some shenanigans in play, which is probably going to just go massive bids, or sort of down here. But going by, if we go to the to composite profile, we have got almost like a double distribution day here. So if we sort of do it like this, so I suppose down to 88s, back into the value for today's session would maybe make sense to the downside. Nice pig. What's the kind of volume like? What's your, like, do you have a volume threshold? I've never looked into that for equities. Like, I'd imagine like part of your scanner solution is going to be, tell me gap and goes with above X amount of volume or something. Like, volume's obviously going to be the key thing, right? Because if you can't trade anything, it doesn't move. I'm assuming it's pretty much the same concepts, right? Is what we're doing. I'm just trying to think what would I do here if I, with 20k delta through the day, and I'm offloading quite a bit of it here. I'm just trying to think what would I do if I had thousands of contracts net long. To be honest, if I had thousands net long, I would probably bang it at least up to this level where these orders are, see how the market reacts. I mean, how far away are we from? Yeah, we're miles away. I need to ultimately try and close these positions. So you'd probably want to bang it up here, right? At least up to maybe what, 16s? And then you would probably start working the offer depending on what the volume is like up here. And then once you're sort of out of these positions, so you're net long, you're probably going to be net long from way up way here, right? And you're going to need to try and close out some of these positions, which you would do. So you note at this level, if we do bang this, there's going to be some stops that will trigger here, which also helps them get out of their positions. And then it is a Monday, which is typically a mean reversion day, nothing on the calendar. So it would make sense that they definitely hit it, to sort of 14s where this liquidity is to get filled. And then probably just ring it back, right? Down somewhere around here. Maybe to evens here. Maybe down to this sort of price. The reason could just because the lower volume nodes here, as you can see. So the market's likely to have a little mini rejection from here, from 96s. So that would be it, I reckon. What's the least probable play happening? I don't know, continue to moon. Continue to go much higher. but I certainly wouldn't be looking to fade this until we take out 14s and sweep this liquidity above. What's everyone's thoughts on that? Have you guys got any open positions? Let me know what you're thinking. So we're seeing 10s, 610 has got some potential resistance on support later in the week. Shaking away longs, trying to front run the break. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, typically Mondays across the board on all markets is one of the lowest volume days, and very typically it doesn't really have the volume to sustain. But if you watch the Delta video, we're basically one-way train on Delta right now, uh, with it being the 20k. Let me get the arrow out. It's actually going to be a little bit easier. So you can see that we are breaking fresh highs, and Delta's already there. So there has been a little bit of absorption here on the offer, which is to be expected because these guys need to start be closing out their positions. But in order for us to pop here, we need NQ to probably get up to. Let's have a look. How far away is NQ away from the highs? Not too far at all. Yeah. So they're going to need NQ to basically work its way back to the highs. The Russell is just not having it, and the Dow is pretty much at POC, which is the Dow doing so is what you'd expect for a Monday. So typically a Monday you have is the most common for mean reversion days. And we have the 20k. So these guys definitely need to start closing out some positions at some point, but we've got a while. We've got another couple hours for that to happen. So we'll see how they do it. So you'd like to see a pullback to 250 for a leg up. 250. Yeah, that would be good. That would be good. We'll see. So if we mark that out on the chart, if we mark what's the sort of stop loss level here, 04s. So 04, just down here. So if we take out this level quite aggressively, there will definitely be some stops below here. But everyone is buying, they're kind of saying to themselves right now, we've got POC down here that's protecting us. Do you know what I mean? So everyone's stop is going to be down below here right now. They're kind of getting a cheaper trade to try and see if they can catch the break. So this would be a great time for them to bang it, work the offer, and then sweep it back in. And as we're now seeing, is NQ is popping the high. Do I ever trade gold? No, I don't really trade commodities. I have done phases where I've traded gold and oil, but they just don't really suit my style. Right, so they should be hitting this. Let's see how much they're gonna bang it. There we go. So little mini stop above. Let's see how they continually take it. Not a huge amount of contracts traded just yet. There we go. Right, so let's see. Notice all these orders are now planting again. Okay, right, we're going to recenter here. And then we're going to clear the delta. Okay, so you notice there was a little mini stop run. Now you need to carefully watch how's the bid behaving. Okay, how is Delta? It's good. Oh, it's about to click on that line like it was Sierra. It's the rubber. So watch Delta, see what's happening. Um, so NQ is moving its way. But no, Brack, I don't really trade gold or oil, to be honest. Not the thickest of books, and the one good thing about oil at least is it's mainly hedged on how to explain that. It's not like there's a options and all the other different asset classes that it's measured on like an underlying as such. It is the main product to hedge in the CL contracts. It's just not a huge amount of volume today, is there? Okay, so let's see if the offer is going to protect this 12 and a halves. So we did get the mini stop run. We were saying if you guys want to rewind and check that, but there was a blip in price. It's what we look for. So you want to see how the bid and offer behaves here, right? And the, the tape is not very quick at the moment. It's a Monday. Yeah, exactly. So I'm thinking piggy. I never think after that play, if this was to moon, it would have, and essentially work its way all the way up here. It would have went there. There was such a lack of movement. We're now probably just going to grind around these parts and work our way back down to POC till the volume comes in. But we'll see. We're basically relying on NQ to do something to see what ES is going to do at the moment. But it's a good time actually for people to watch OrderFlow right now in the DOM because it's very slow actually. Not as slow as Treasuries, but it's slow. And this type of behavior is more of a mean reversion behavior. So now, the people that basically bought this, if they didn't take this and think it was going to the moon up here, they're now under pressure a little bit. So if sellers have not really had to get that aggressive to drive price down here, so the bid has really been pulled a little bit. We're seeing some selling coming in, any buyers that are absorbing on the offer happening pretty slowly, and sellers are taking what's there and still absorbing on the offer. So we'll see if they're going to continually hit into the bid and go and tackle point of control at 6.25, or if we're going to go back up to sort of try and defend 12 and a halves. But not the best conditions, to be honest. You want to be seeing this if you're shorting to get the rubber out again. You want to see when you're shorting this to move a heck of a lot faster than what it's doing. But yeah, it's not exact. I mean, this is a Monday. Mondays are always pretty quiet. Typically, a much bigger range today than I was expecting, and that's just probably on the back of Biden pulling out of the race. You know, people have had to essentially reposition their portfolio a little. I know it was one of the main reasons for me being short biased, to be honest. Okay, so let's see how the market behaves at 12 and a half. So if we get there, so we're going to defend and watch NQ. The more it continues to pump, then the more likely we are to go up and fill out 16 and a half. But to be honest, this is not really tradable behavior. Um, First couple hours of the open gave you this glorious stuff. Yeah, exactly, Pig. I think we're going to see it's kind of just some distribution round about here, balance until we have market on close and stuff coming out. There's nothing really to change sentiment. I mean, the way that it's going at the moment, if sellers do not come in and it's just this continual grind, it could just be continual. But look at the amount of. It's nice to see the clamper is gone. Do you know the clamp algo we were talking about? It seems to have disappeared. Also seen the Russell pop up as well at high day. Here we are. Russell popping highs. NQ's just about to as well. Note all this liquidity up here. See if we're going to go and challenge it. Yeah, so pretty much, Pig, there was we're calling it the range capping algos. So like I think it was 2.5 points, 2 to 3 points. I think it was maybe 12. Anyways, 2 to 3 points away from price on the bid and the offer, and every time the market went up a tick or down a tick, it followed price, and it never get filled. It just continuously moved all the time, and it was really just, in my opinion, it was really distorting the book. It was from my end anyway, but that's why it was there. It was there to distort the book. Whereas MBO data, you can see there's tons of liquidity up here, and these are really not going to be pulled. So really, what this says to me is, on slow behavior like this on the offer, the market most likely is going to go out and fill these areas. But when the range cap and algo was there, it was, they were bouncing around on the offer and in the bid, and this wasn't here. None of these orders were here. So it seems to be at the moment where they're pulling back, doing some absorption on the bid, hitting it up, absorbing and getting out of some positions on the offer. But if you were to be shorting this, it should have already went, right? It's going to have probably another crack here and see. Yeah, Pig. So yeah, like 2 to 3 points away. I think it was maybe 12 ticks. Was it as many as that? Anyway, I think it was something like 10 to 12 ticks away from price from the bid and the offer. And every time it moved up a tick, it would follow price, but it was always say 12 ticks away. And the MBO data was been distorted massively. So we'll see if it pops up again actually. See if it pops up again this session. But definitely one of the larger firms was running it. And what I find quite interesting is now that it's not there, clearly they've got a different algorithm running at that time. Now, I've got no idea what that algorithm was. Was it a buying algorithm? Was it a selling algorithm? Why was it there? I don't really know. But I do know the reason why it was put in was to distort the book. Because if it's confusing me, it's confusing other algorithms and confusing everyone else. It's put in there to kill people's edge. That's why it's there. Yeah, basically like carrot on a stick. Yeah, but also while it was there was not as much. So do you notice how they've just flashed here 400, 150, and 50, right? And then put another 400 here. So we'll see that buyers, in essence, if this is real, and buyers were wanting to pump it, they should be aggressively taking this 400, and that's what they'll be doing right now. You know, they're basically saying, right, here's 400 lots in the offer, right? Take me. How hungry are you to pump this higher? Are buyers super aggressive? So they pull it. See, they just pulled that 400 lot. And then they pulled that one 400 lot as well. You see that? Spoofing at its absolute finest. So actually, they probably never wanted to get filled in the first place, or will probably want to take that higher because the market tends to suck to that liquidity. So let's see how we behave here. Okay, so 300 lifted. Another 300. Notice them going up to this here. Okay, some size starting to be traded. Notice all the delta coming in here. 364, 112, 260, 163. Notice the absolute high point up here at 20s. Well, everything is pumping higher as well as the Dow. So still absorbing here in the bid. Let's see if they can crack this. Buyers are still absorbing at the highs. It's nice when it's a little bit slower like this. You can see it easier. Watch how the bid's now been pulled. See that? There's 100 at each price and they're cutting through it with 54 and 62 lots. But yet these prices are doing 509. So if I had over 1,000 contracts executed on the offer at these prices. I know this is very typical, so watch the bid. Note all the 100 lots trade here. Let's clear this. Note all the 100 lots down here, right? If we do get down here to see it. So you should be noticing at these prices how they pull bids. And you know at the offer they need to try and clear this liquidity first. And watch for the bid being pulled. So buyers are still absorbing here. You want to see 13 3/4 go. And it's not. Yes, that's delta. Delta to the left of price here. I cleared it not so long ago. We've also got the Russell hitting highs. Okay, so 1,000 contracts absorbed in the offer here against these three ticks. Watch the bid now. NQ's going, which is causing a pullback in ES. Just watch how sensitive it is. Right, and just note all the 100 lots here down. If we do crack this, watch what's printed into the bid right here. Because in order for this to go, the bid needs to be pulled. Buyers are still happily absorbing in the bid, lifting into the offer, and then the offer has been pulled as well. You're seeing 21 trade, but then when it's getting up to this price, sellers are hitting in quite aggressively themselves when we're getting up to 15 and a halves, 15 and 3/4. See how the difference where they're absorbing here, but then they're pulling at these ticks? Quite a bit two-way. Okay, see if they can break at 14s. Now watch these levels. If this goes, let's watch these be pulled. See if they can quickly sweep through. Or we're just going to dilly-dally around about here. Okay, note all the 100 lots that were once here. Let's see when price does hit into them. If they're just going to pull them, and then we'll be down 4 and 5 ticks. Because they were pulling the offer, and then absorbing up at like 15 and a halves, these 3 ticks. Because we've seen, well over 2,000 contracts now hit into these prices up here. So in order for this to drop, we need to see NQ go down, and then they need to be hitting in, and these bids need to be pulled. Still a passive buyer here. Until this passive buyer is gone, this market is not going to go down. So note that here, which you can see there's a little sort of volume node. If you notice the sort of little spike of volume here. Still someone happy for a buyer to absorb at this price. So in order for this to go down, this guy needs to be done his business. And then the obvious upside is to basically clean out this liquidity and then reevaluate. But we've now done this twice. So they're continually loading up on the offer. We've essentially, we've did this, pulled back, did this, slight little pullback, now, we're up here, and then they're reloading again. They're basically saying, I've got more in the offer up here. I'm not saying any of this is tradable right now, by the way, I'm just running through the order flow as to what you're seeing. I think the fact as soon as you start seeing this type of shit absorbing at the highs, this is the type of action that it should be giving you is comes up, gives you a nice sweep, and then it moves quickly within 5 minutes or so. The fact that you're absorbing here for over an hour is not ideal. But you notice though, again, up at this price, someone happy to absorb in the offer. Another 300 contracts. So it looks to be they're sweeping here, these prices, down, and someone is absorbing here, and someone is absorbing on these three prices here, 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 and here. You can see the delta. Someone's absorbing that in the offer. No problem, trader boy. But yeah, it's actually quite good action for OrderFlow to talk about this because it's not really quick. They're just kind of grinding through prices, a little bit thicker book, you know. Delta is now 24k. So in order to get here, we've spent 4,000 delta to get, you know, from here to here, right? So in order for us to get up here, it's basically been 4,000 contracts into the ask. So again, no more absorption at this price. Let's see if they then pull the bid back down to 13.5s. Is this really like the grind of death? This, isn't it? Hmm. Okay, so pretty much the line in the sand. This is all fluff in between here, and then we have sellers need to crack 13 and a quarter, and buyers need to take out this liquidity up until probably 18s. So that looks pretty much where we're at the minute. Yeah, exactly, trader boy. I think I would say they're definitely holding buyers at the moment. Despite it going up, it's taken them a lot of juice to continually bang it here. It's not looking great though that you've got the NQs popping the highs and so is Russell. It's not exactly fantastic. You'd rather if the Russell was, you know, back at POC. Why is it no? Because that's the high of the session, pig. So in today's session, that price has not been traded today. So the profiles on a depth of market reset at the start of every trading day. And then if you look at, this is the monthly volume profile here, right? That you're seeing. On the TPO chart, this is the monthly, but we have a daily volume profile on the depth of market. Okay, so let's see if this buyer's still going to absorb at 13 and a quarter if he's gone. It's not really any selling that's happened here, just the bid's been pulled. That four, I was about to say that 400 is going to be pulled again. That's well, whoever's done that. That's been 1,200 contracts spoofed in the space of 10 minutes. Just getting my regulators hat on while I'm at it. It's 1,200 contracts spoofed. Has to be one of the bigger firms because they're the only ones that are doing those quotas to get away with that. Spoofing meant to be legal, which is happening all day, every day. Alex, that's the thing, dude. You need to create some rules in there, and I would say when you're fading, right, you need to almost have a stop clock on because the longer the market consolidates at the high like this, um, the the more unlikely that fading is on. You know, this is what should be happening. This is like textbook fade. You know, market comes up to the high session and previous day high and initial balance high. We sweep it by a literal few ticks and then dump. Right? Absolute textbook. This where it's sweep it. So say you took it again and it sweeps and then you've got 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. No, no bueno. Because it should be going in the same time frame you were back down to VWAP before, right? So you need to have almost like a stop clock for that. This should not be happening because what that essentially means, right, is all the selling that's happening into the bid has been absorbed, right? Yeah, trader boy, if they give you a finder's fee, make sure and let me know. We get tons of spoofing here, to be honest. Is that as like what do you mean at the end of that? Why mail? I'm assuming that's an autocorrect for something. Pig. Wall Street's cleaned up his act. Yeah, I'm sure they have. I'll crack the jokes. But you know it's only one of the larger firms that can do that, right? Because otherwise they're blatantly spoofing. But the trouble is it's a grey area. Because if I'm trading, you know, just for example, say I'm trading 50,000 contracts that day, right? And a spoof 2k. Just these numbers are arbitrary, right? But say I spoof 2k at the key times to basically drive price to a level that I actually want to get filled at and get out of my orders, they can just say, "Oh, I cancelled the order." Do you know what I mean? But you can see I've already traded 50k today. Do you know what I mean? It's just all to do with the quotas. Like if you're trading 400 contracts and you spoof 50,000 that day, then you don't really get a leg to stand on. You know, it's basically the same as insider trading. You know, how can you prove that insider trading happens? I mean, it's a market, everyone talks, right? What's for someone to say that my sources tell me that Nvidia or Apple is going to knock out the park next quarter, whereas do you know what I mean? Same as the spoofing. As long as you're not taking the piss out of it, you know, no one's gonna notice. I know if we happen to find a day here where like you know, say they were spoofing here, here, here constantly, then loading up here and here, you know, doing it massively, then you could maybe do it, but they're not doing it that often. Let's be serious, you would do the same thing. If you had the facility to do that, you'd do the same thing. It's almost like when they do that spoofing as well, they basically, it's like a game of poker, right? If you lay out 400 contracts here, okay? In fact, let's put a little 400 here, and buyers come up to this, right? And they don't take it. You then know to yourself, well, the buyers can't be that strong, right? Look how much the bid has been pulled to get down here. 27, 67, 13. So you need to see them hold and break below 13 and a quarter. But they're almost testing the liquidity. Those sellers are coming in a little bit here, just a little. But we need to really break and close below this little higher volume node here, this little guy. Exactly, Pig, and that's the thing. I mean, I cancel orders on a day. You know, it doesn't mean I'm spoofing. But the difference is these guys can put them in at the right time to press the book, because majority of these algorithms, these bid and ask algos, like if they've got 400 behind them in size, they'll maybe load up in the front price more. You know, when actually whoever's putting in that spoof order, they maybe want to get filled on the bid, not on the offer. I mean, you need to think about what's their intentions. They're not just putting that 400 lot there for the goodness of their heart. Do you know what I mean? There's some intent behind it. No, Pig. No. So I suppose we could. I mean, technically there's delta here, which you could look at for time, but we don't have volume by time, no. And very typically in futures, it's the first couple of hours of the open dries off. It's quite quiet at this time as well, and then over the next hour or so, the volume picks up. So we're now absorbing on the offer here, which before it was the bid. So let's see if sellers start to get in aggressive. And we should potentially see us go a little here. We want to see NQ dumping as well. So yeah, over probably about 3,000 contracts in total absorbed, but it's such a slow way to do it. Not clear cut at all. And also there's sort of like another, there we go, there it is. There's the size coming in now. Also, as another way to really think about it, um, buyers, if they didn't take that 400 up here twice, and then you have all this size up here in the offer, and if buyers were to be aggressive, wow, look at this go. So watch the stops below this level. Let's recenter quickly, we're missing the action. That's more like it. There's a capitulation. And of course we bounce off point of control. Everyone is bought there, think it's going to the moon, just had to cover. So let's see, watch fours. If we do crack fours, there's going to be some pain below there for all the people that are still holding. If we do crack below here, it's the last chance saloon for any buyers. See now, let's see if buyers take these. Yep, so they do. There's been a lot of orders fired off here at POC area. That was a nice pullback. So about 4,000 delta come in. Talking absolute nonsense. It's about 1,000 delta that come in. Not 4k, 20k is down here. Okay. So someone just to come in to defend here. Let's see if they pull this or not. They did. Okay, so we've had this sort of pullback. Now, we've stopped the POC as expected, is what happens. It never really breaks through a high volume node like this without doing the dance around. There's going to be pain, as we know, below fours. See if sellers want to still continue. They hit into the bid with some size when they come back up to 9.25 before. And then we've got this higher volume node here as well. So we'll see how they behave. No problem, Pig. Hopefully you have a good evening, buddy. Whatever you're going to do, dude. Have a nice time with your relatives and stuff. So let me know, how's everyone else doing. I can see there is a number of you lurking here. So hit the like button for me, likey like, and let me know how you're doing. The buyers have gobbled up. Okay, so it looks like we're going to dance around here until for about another 40 minutes or so. Declan, what did you say? 2.5? You're not far off it, dude. JP enjoying the show. Good man. Good man. Let's take away this 9.5, no longer 9.25, sorry, no longer relevant. So sellers, again, they should be taking this. So you should be clearing these here and then taking this full 100. Let's see. So they take it all. Good. So sellers are still willing to hit into the bid. Okay. Let's see if we go back up now to challenge this. Are we going to continue? Yeah, might bid to 350 most likely. NQ's now below POC. Let's see if it can break below. If it does, we should see a push down to point of control. Here we go. NQ continues. We'll be down at POC on ES. Yeah, it was a difficult shot up there, dude, to be honest. It was tons of absorption, but I don't think it's good practice to be fading that price action. So we'll see if buyers take out 10.25 with 100 that's sitting there. They do. JP, if I open up into single profile G, yeah, these down here, yeah, I suppose you could class them as singles dudes, but normally you would rather the fact that they'd already been through that for that day and traded it out. So singles is more like, let me try and find singles. Singles is like this. See here? Like this is singles here. Where you've got one TPO in there. So there's a little bit of an imbalance to crack through there. Market swept through it quickly. It's like 12 ticks there. So typically when it gets to the upside you see some some stoppages at 44s here. Trying to see if there's another example here for you. So everywhere the market's moved pretty erratic, like here, there's singles here on B period. And funnily enough, it's the same singles for M period as well. So the market tends to move through singles pretty quickly until it gets to the imbalance part. But I wouldn't class G as singles, dude. Just because of the volume that was done prior through that level. Above there are more. Yeah, exactly. So I typically look at it for that session, GP, about, it needs to have one TPO, pretty much. A fantastic idea of singles actually Let me bring it up. I don't know if you were here at the start of the stream, dude, but I'll just quickly show you singles. If I go to treasuries, I'll show you some really good singles. Okay, here's some great singles. This was actually part of my play today, um, where I shorted the break of this. See, is that pulled back now actually? Yeah, it has. Okay, fab. Very nice. Um, so this is singles here, massive singles left actually. And my plan of attack was that I was looking to short. I won't explain all the faffing as to why I was biased, but the plan of attack was short. I then was up 3 or 4 ticks, and then I got a free look at the crack here. And because of these singles, we were then look to target the imbalance down here, which we did. So we got out just before it. We got out at 22s, so we didn't take the full amount, but we got out for 11 ticks. But this is the singles, so when you crack the initial area, it normally moves pretty quickly through it. And then the plan of attack for people to be buying is the initial imbalance. So like, here, for example, this sort of area is where you'd expect people to be buying or to be taking profits, where the imbalance happened at the start, right? So that's a good way that I look at singles on. Let me close this. Just because I did a singles play today, I thought it was worth explaining it as soon as you asked. That's singles in a volume profile, same thing. If you look at that in a TPO, it'll be singles, but same idea, right? And you're probably thinking why they have different colors and different charts and stuff. Boredom. Why do you have slightly different colors on different charts? It's bored. When you stare at screens for hours and hours a week, sometimes it's nice to freshen up the colors a little bit. But I keep the stream one as consistent as I can, so that you guys are seeing the same thing for pattern behavior. But I don't change the colors of the DOMs. Maybe the volume profile I change the color, but I never change any of this in here. Eunice, how's it going? How's it going, dude? How's your day been? Do you take any trades? Kind of a bit like watching paint dry at the minute. Take a little bit of a pullback that was gobbled up. Not really any real direction right now. So it looks like not any huge amount of action is going to happen till probably 10 to 4 standard. So it's set up, to be honest. Eunice, nice. Did you think about me? Yeah, I took a really sweet trade on the 10-year. I can't remember what time it was. It was a really boring day in treasuries, but then it moved. I took 3 trades today. Uh, that was it. Really nice day. Wish every day was like today. I've been in the Bahamas. Sadly, I'm not. Weather is actually pretty good here today. Don't really get that much weather in Scotland, guys. So, been sweating bullets. Yeah, exactly. Exactly, Eunice. Think about a bit of a thicker book and there's tons of MBO data on the offer. You think, oh, I need to see what's happening. I like your style. I like your style, right? Come on, let's see if we can sweep this fours here and see some pain to the downside back to the VWAP, to be honest. Yeah, they'll always do something. Always do something towards market on close. I mean, it kind of we did. If we put on our large trader hat and we did sort of say that if you were net long 20,000 contracts or delta or whatever which way we look at it, right? You were definitely going to have to hit the highs a few times to unload some of your positions, um, which they've done, and now we're just correcting back in there. We could go up at market on close and fill out all this liquidity up here because it doesn't. Is there much on the bid? Not really. Not at all. Is there anything anyway down here? Has anyone got a lonely order down here? I'm just curious. I'm never ending scrolling here. It's not. So everything is on the offer right now. I mean, a shit ton is on the offer. Yes, that's the daily VWAP. Do you have the regular trading hours? I've got the day session VWAP here. Starts at the, yeah. Yours will be, I'd imagine, slightly higher, right? But typically, what I would expect again is I'll probably have another crack at it. Is all of this 25,000 positive delta today, right? Um, these, if we do lift into the offer, clean out some of this liquidity up here. Market on close comes out, we'll probably do it, and then we'll do the erratic snapback back down to probably POC. On a Monday, are we going to go and sort of break out of Friday and Thursday's value area? Probably not. If it was a Thursday, higher likelihood. The bias is definitely to the downside. I would say the most probable solution is sort of finish down at fours, evens here. We were at the standard deviation bands as well. Yeah, it looks like we're just going to dance around here. Because I mean, you're thinking on a Monday, can we really finish with more delta, like 35, 40k? Seemed pretty crazy, wouldn't it? Actually, let me check. What was the court report? I checked it for treasuries, but not. Um, Let me have a look at that just very quickly. I think I remember off the top of my head, it was increased net long positions. Just let me have a look and see what the open interest was. Okay. Equity funds managers raise S&P net long positions by basically 20,000 contracts. Equity fund speculators. Oh, they increase net short position by 30,000 contracts to 370. Interesting. So we basically have pension funds net long and speculators, investment banks net short. Interesting. So all of that buying, it kind of paints a slight picture on it. They're currently have increased their net short position now from Friday to 370,000 contracts. Net short on S&P. Interesting. So some profit taking definitely in the Mag 7 to be expected. Which then kind of makes sense. We're now seeing 25,000 delta more or less being absorbed in the offer. And we also saw Treasuries is a little bit more honest when it comes to that. Treasuries trimmed the 2 year net short, so basically took some profits. And I think it was the 5, 10, 30 and Ultra increased the net short position, which makes sense as to why we've dipped down a little bit more today. Just an observation, doesn't mean we're going down, but just an observation. I think you want to always be on the side of basically non-commercial speculators, because equity fund managers, so pension funds, hedge funds and stuff, well, it's most hedge funds because they're long and short, but pension funds are strictly buy only, right? It's not like they've got a very hard time. Just buy a lot of different sectors and buy the S&P and throw in some yields into the mix. So Trader Boy, if you want to really deep, dive deep into it, you can go into the CFTC court report, um, and check the in-depth reports. But if you want to just see a quick breakdown of it, you can go into something like Financial Juice or whatever. They publish it on a Friday, but I typically check that and then like to drill down into it a little bit. Because you have the sort of non-reported, which is retail. So obviously it's absolutely, they do nothing. They don't even hold overnight. So pointless even looking at that. It's such a small amount. And then you have commercial, and in futures, the commercial side is normally the business that is hedging off their exposure, and then the non-commercial speculators is typically your large players like investment banks. And just from my opinion, I place more weight on the speculators instead of the commercial, because the commercial side of the business for whatever product you're trading, their hedging exposure, right, for the product that they're trading, in treasuries, it's they'll be hedging off some of the mortgage risk or whatever the case may be. So the speculators, the ones that are slinging size in speculation, they ultimately need the price to go in their favor, whereas the commercial side don't, because they have the product that they're hedging against. That can be seen for BP hedging oil, uh, I don't know, Bank of America hedging some of the mortgage exposure. UK, that would be Halifax and Nationwide hedging off some of their exposure. No problem. Just the way that I look at it, man. Do I place extreme weight in that? Not really. Not really. But put it this way, if I'm thinking that we're looking like that session that we're going to crack the lows and there's singles below that, and I'm going in the favour of those net short positions, then it only helps the cause, right? Even gold, yeah, exactly. Even gold. I mean, they all have all these markets, same as like wheat and all the big farmers. I don't think you've got John the farmer that's going on to the futures market and hedging his exposure. Um, I'm not a farmer. I've got no exposure. I don't trade corn or wheat or anything along those lines. But typically, I'd imagine um, these large distribution companies that are probably distributing and buying the wheat and shit off of the farmers are the ones that are holding the exposure there, and they'll probably need to hedge off some of the risk. But Bob the farmer is not walking into Chicago Board of Trade to hedge off his exposure in wheat. Do you know what I mean? It'll be the distribution companies that do it, who ultimately hold the stock or buy it and so on. And then, as you know, the commercial side or pension funds, they just buy and hold the S&P. Do you know what I mean? It's not exactly the most complicated thing, is it? If you buy and hold the S&P with enough cash with no leverage, you're probably going to annualize make like 5%, and your job is just to beat inflation. You charge 2% for the funds under management and 20% of the profits is the standard. And their main goal is to get a decent return and beat inflation on the money, so it's next year it's not valued less. What did you guys think of the video at the weekend? Because what's quite interesting is who's taking the pension fund orders, the investment banks. Because when these guys are net long 200,000 contracts, they're not doing that in one trade a lot of the time. They're going to do it in maybe blocks of 20, 30,000. So the investment bank need to take that order, they give them the inventory of it, and then they then work the book to get out the position, or they hold the position, and then they cover some of it. But it'd be interesting to hear your thoughts. And I thought it was quite good to give people an insight into what's just what goes on behind the scenes, to be honest. Hal, how's it going, Hal? Nice, guys. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Glad you enjoyed it. It's quite hard. You know, could extend so much on that. Trying to make it not that boring because I'm aware the topics that I talk about is not. It's trying to give people an insight into what actually goes on behind the scenes and trying to build a complete OrderFlow series. It's not just about you spot absorption and you sell. You know, it's trying to get everyone ready with the correct mindset. We are just completely flat right now. So let's see if buyers take this all at 11. Let's see if they're going to pull these orders or not. Nope, they completely take it. Okay. Nice. Yeah, it's all about framing the sort of context and bigger picture. Take your time. Okay, so that 270 I think was done in a bigger contract. I think they just hit 200 lots in there, would be my guess. I could probably check the time and sales to verify that, but I think it was at 11s. Also, guys, I think I don't really know if it's. I want to try and make the chat a little bit cool, so there's some stickers or something I can get designed. What, not stickers, what are they called? Emojis or something that I can get designed specifically for the chat. And I think we can be interesting to everyone's thoughts of cool little stickers we can make. I think we need something like a little hit the bed and lift the offer and sweep and maybe a little bobbing Mr. Orderflow head. Something to make it a little bit fun. We need to try and make it a little bit light-hearted sometimes instead of being all serious all the time. Okay, sellers are starting to come in a little bit here. So they're drilling into that price. Let's see if it continues. So we have 25 minutes. Enough time for everyone to grab some popcorn and some snacks. You can get the olives, chip and dip, some cheese out, popcorn, coffee or beer. Whatever tickles your fancy. Oh yes, the algo sticker. Yeah, I'll need to get that too. Yeah, it'd be interesting if you guys can maybe let some feedback know, of that and see. But I think try and get some more info terms and make them pretty cool for you, which would be quite interesting. Yeah, this is pretty much the algo shit show. This times like right now, you could just plaster the algo sticker. Oh, oh, see that? Some size come in there. Wouldn't be surprised if that was some size that just come into one of the big boys, into the mags. It caused that. That seemed a bit of a correction there. I suspect there's quite a lot of people who just get filled there in the offer, so probably need to pull it in a little bit. But the play, I'd imagine, is faff around a little bit more, lift into the offer, go up and fill all this area out, get out of their net long positions, and then sweep it back into POC to end the day. Classic Monday. And even more so if they're feeling juicy, they'll break fours and then potentially go down here, down to this sort of higher volume node down here. Most unlikely position, do we go and sweep this and just continue on to the moon all the way up here? Seems relatively unlikely. Seems like, when market on close comes out, we maybe drill it somewhere around here, like 20-30 ticks away, revert back and work our way back down here. With the downside maybe being, somewhere down over here. That's pretty much what I suspect will happen. So the play is going to be, it's hard to anticipate the break of sweeping this because yourself, if you buy now, they sweep it back down here, you're offside 6 ticks. It's just not exactly the best price action, to be honest. And we are into M period as well. Let's see what is Thursday's value area high on TPO is 18 3/4. Let's specifically mark that out if we get there. Make it the same color. Yeah, pretty much, Eunice. I mean, this. Can you imagine how trading would be though if you had that much size that you can just do this? Like if the 3-4 biggest market making firms, your Citadel, DRW, JP, Goldman, were not there, how much volume would actually be happening? Do you know what I mean? Like that would be interesting to know. Because all they end up doing is battling against each other, getting out of their positions, being net long, filling it up. Then this allows another firm to be net short, and then they just jump on with them, drive it down. Do you know? Like as we discussed before, retail is just so insignificant in the pot. Okay, so NQ is going. Russell is now back at the highs. Dow is working its way up to the highs as well. Doesn't really look to be any form of selling coming in aggressively. It just seems to be bid has been pulled, absorbing, lift into the offer, bid pulled, absorb, lift in. Because when the market, we had this sweep down as well, we saw some selling come in, but nothing major. It was what, like 1,000, 1,500 contracts or whatever. And it seems like the firms just pulled the bid to get the buy price lower, so they can now just this will be their orders actually up here. Do you know what I mean? So they drive it price down here, absorb some more, and actually it was It's their positions up here all along. Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. It's when you think about it, how efficient it is. But these firms are partners of the exchange because if they weren't there, can you imagine how much of a nightmare it would be for the exchanges without these partners? Like they literally are the market, these firms, because the exchanges take pride on saying, our markets are extremely liquid, they're really efficient, um, and you can trade pretty much any time of the day now, and get filled within reason, right? Um, but these market making firms are the ones that make that go round. And as we discussed in a previous video, they get compensated with less margin and really, really, really low commissions in order to help facilitate that. Okay, so 13 and a half, so 216 absorbed in the offer, and 446 hit into the bids. We tick down. Let's see if the offer is going to be gone or are going to continually hit. So let's see. Okay, now 200 at 14 and a half. A few ticks higher. What I want to know though is there enough? Yeah, I mean there is 26k. It's 26k. So there's definitely enough for them to chew through that and get out their positions. What I'm not wanting to see though is it just comes up here, faffs around, and doesn't fill here, and then we just pull back. It's going to be awfully boring if they do that. So 6 minutes till the volume comes in. And we shall see how it behaves. What does everyone think? Think we're going to clean out this volume above? Or are we just going to correct back to POC? The Russell is seems to get a bit of life these days, isn't it? 1,000 contracts absorbed in the offer at 15.5, which is a lot. Yeah, we'll see if that plays out, Trader Boy. I mean, the least probable is just to smash right through this, through 18 3/4, continually hold those prices and go higher, especially on a Monday. 26k delta, it's crazy. These are the type of days where you expect it to have no pullbacks, for it to just be, way up here. When it's this amount, so definitely the offer is certainly pretty strong today. Because we opened here, so let's just draw roughly the opening print. So we opened here, a VWAP. What would be super interesting is we go up, down, up, faff around, and back down, and then we finish the Monday pretty much where we started. Yeah, it's certainly paint drying stuff at the minute. So if everyone's ready, 15 minutes of some action. See if we can do something exciting. A little bit of selling coming in. Nothing to write home about though. And if we do crack fours, then that'll probably take us down to VWAP. If we do. And everyone that's shorted too early needs to cover up here. Yep, showtime. 10 seconds. 463 contracts hit into that price. Some selling coming in. Here we go. Okay, so let's see. Oh, look, it's back. See it? It's back. No. Okay, so all these other orders up here were still there for the whole time. So just an observation, this algorithm definitely seems to be turned on at higher volume times when volatility is higher. Interesting. It's not been present for the last 2 hours. Then as soon as the volatility picks up, jeez man, look at the amount of liquidity up here. Jeez, oh, crazy. Absolute bonkers. This is some of the most I've ever seen up here. Granted, 600 of the orders are fake, but look at it. It's madness up here. Okay, here we go. Absorbed 267 before we've even got up here as well. God, if this bid pulls, it's going to be grim. See that? They didn't even take that full 100 there. Two ticked into it. Two contracts. They didn't take that full 100, then it dropped. Bid was pulled after. See if they go back up and take it. Suppressing it again, let's see. For a second time. Jeez. This is grim. Yeah, pathetic is the word, trader boy. I mean, to be honest, does not look like there's enough volume to clear out all that liquidity up there. To be honest, we could literally just dance around POC here. Right, here we go. What would be quite cool is I'd like to catch it like a flash crash on stream. That would be nice. But it would be even nicer if I'm not in a position when it happens as well. Oh my gosh. Someone really needs to get the stick out and poke ES. Come on, do something. Well, I'm assuming you guys have not traded this. I hope. Need to see if there's going to be anything that can happen in the next 3 minutes, but I don't think so. I think anything too exciting is going to happen now. Could we press below here and break fours and then capitulate? Can we do that? Or are we just going to pull the offer and go back up here and dance around more? We're only a couple of thousand contracts away for POC to be moving up as well. Good, but that's the thing. No trade is good trade. You'd just be forcing it, to be honest. Yeah, Eunice, I mean, it's needs to be going quicker than this, dude. Needs to be definitely going quicker than this. We'll see if we can get something in the next minute, you know, if anything exciting happens, but I mean, it looks like we've got it to the downside now. I can't see it's going all the way back up and filling that now. Most probable is we just faff around. See if we get it now. Some side just come in there. Lifted into the offer. Look at the delta. It's just come in. Okay, let's see if we can clear this or do something. We've got 3-4 minutes to try and clear this and then pull back. But this is it now. We're probably in a 15 tick range. That's all she wrote. Look at that. That's crazy. 6,000 contracts absorbed in the offer there. The offer is just not allowing it to go past 13 and a quarter, are they? There is so much absorption in the offer, it's crazy. Tons. 6,000 here, 1,000 here. Madness. Yeah, lamest close I've had in a long time. It's literally. It's painful. But at least you guys now know what shit action looks like, right? Barcode. It's pretty much sums up the action. It's like a waffle. Well, not really any huge talking points, which is a shame. The one thing I would say is the fact that we are now 33,000 delta at the high, and the market's not moved. So a ton of absorption. Tons. So we'll see what tomorrow brings. Let me know if you guys have got any other questions. I might look to wind it down. Not ideal when we don't get any real action, but it teaches you patience. It's the main thing. Oh, is there a potential move in as yet? Unlikely. Okay guys, we'll probably look to call it there. We're just going to barcode around and chillax on POC, it looks like now. Hope everyone has a fantastic evening, and we'll catch up tomorrow. No problem, Trader Boy. You have a great evening, dude. Thanks everyone else. We'll catch up tomorrow. Hopefully it's another green day. See if it's a little bit more action. But it looks like we had all the movement in the AM session today, to be honest. So hope everyone